over 5 pounds over stock right now.
Okay.
And then
That's great. All right, guys, welcome back. Today, as you can see from the title, we may have bought something very special for the E30. Today, we're in the studio. Supercharger. It's from a Jaguar. It fits on a BMW V8. A guy makes these adapters for it, which consist of these plates that essentially bolt those Jaguar parts to a BMW cylinder head and some other custom parts like this. So these occasionally pop up. Well, I'd say they rarely pop up for sale. And this one popped up on Facebook in an E39 owners group, and I was like, let's just do it. So I snagged it. It's got all the parts we need. The supercharger, I think, has been rebuilt. It feels smooth. He said it had fresh fluid in it. The intercoolers have been pressure checked and powder coated. I like red. I think it'll kind of clash in the car, but someone spent a lot of money on that, so we'll probably just use them. All right, so E30 right now makes like about 300 at the wheels. 290 horsepower, like 305 foot-pounds, so 300 at the wheel. So it's probably making about 350 at the crank, somewhere close to there. This should easily add 100 horsepower on low boost. And like the bottom end of that motor is forged anyways. I think the rods would be the weak link at like 600 horsepower, but I don't want to go anywhere near that because I think it'll just be undrivable at that point. So I think we could do it like a healthy 400 wheel. Maybe if we're feeling cocky, we'll do like 450. It just depends on what kind of power it can put down, because things get really expensive when you actually want to put the power down. So like we can give it 600 horsepower and keep it on the stock tires, and it'll just spin the tires. But if you want to put the power down, then you're putting huge wide tires on it. So now you're going wide body, and now the tires are so sticky, then you got to upgrade the axles and the diff, because then you'll just start breaking the next weak link if you take traction out of the equation. So I don't want to go crazy with it. I think like 450 to the wheels would be good. This should bolt up. This is actually for a E39, and the way it works is this obviously sits in the V of the motor, and the throttle body is now back here, and my engine sits very close to the firewall, so I don't know how much this is going to interfere with it. I think we'll kind of burn that bridge when we get there, but you know, I've got a welder and a large hammer, so you know, if we have to do some cutting, we'll do some cutting. But yeah, that's big. It's an Eaton M112, I believe, so it's a pretty large supercharger. I think the Jag motor this came off of was maybe a 5-liter, so I think it's, you know, more than adequate for my use, and we're already high compression, so yeah, very exciting, very exciting. So yeah, all this kind of stacks up. These are obviously the intake ports, so this bolts to the V8, the BMW V8, and then these Jaguar ports with the fuel injectors in them bolts onto that, and then the intercoolers bolt onto that, and then obviously this sits right in the middle. So it didn't come with a pulley, because you kind of size the pulley for how much boost you want. So we'll have to get a pulley. I think I have to make gaskets for this, and other than that though, it kind of bolts up, and then we'll take it to Bob and he'll tune it, and then we can break stuff. So all right, so back in the garage. Obviously, we're very excited about this supercharger. It's gonna be a lot of fun, but we're still not totally in the clear with this car. If you guys have been keeping up on some of the later videos, you know, it did overheat and boiled all the coolant out, and we did 2 out of 3 checks, I would say. Well, we did a couple checks, but there's one more I want to do just to be certain that everything's okay and the head gaskets aren't blown. You know, so we did a compression check. Everything was fine. None of the fluids are mixed together. But we're going to do one last check. We're going to drive it to our buddy's shop, and he's going to put, it's essentially like a dye you put in the coolant, and it tests for like hydrocarbons in the coolant. So like if any fuel is getting in the coolant, which would happen if the head gasket was blown or the head was cracked, because it's forcing combustion gases into the cooling system. So we're going to do that last test, and if that's good, I'm still kind of shocked that this car is okay. especially with the engine being aluminum because they're kind of fragile. If that's good though, we're going to slap the supercharger on. Also, you can see this right here. If you guys have been following us on Instagram, we've got this completed now. It's nice and shiny. I went with red because that'll add some power, and I thought that was a nice gray. Anyways, yeah, this engine is ready to go in that car. We need a transmission still, clutch and flywheel. Then we can actually test fit it, weld up the motor mounts, put her in there, and yeah, it's coming along. So this car does need a battery because something's draining the battery, and it did it enough time where it just cooked it. So got a fresh Dura-Hard or Die-Hard, whatever. Fresh battery to go in her, and then top her up with coolant. And I do need to fix because the temp gauge doesn't work, and so I've got like a mechanical one from AutoZone. I'm gonna try to tee into the system so we can at least monitor temperatures as we drive, because it's like a 20-minute drive, which will be the longest it's run since its fiasco. So yeah, we're gonna get it ready to go.
Terrified to go over 61 because of the sunroof, and so far we're actually holding steady temperature on the gauge, which is good. We still got like 20 miles to go, but my fingers are killing me. I'm holding the sunroof down with my hand. It's not really attached, and we also don't have any heat, so it's a nice chilly ride. But so far if we hold steady on temperature, I think we're good. I might pull over and just kind of feel the hoses, but this is so scary. All right, we're stopping at a Sheetz. Coolant temp is steady and good. I want to see when I stop and don't turn the fan on, we should warm it up a little bit. So I just kind of want to see what our figures are when we do that. And other than that, it's fine. And I was also kind of thinking, I think our cap, which is supposed to be the weak link in the system, so once it gets to too much pressure, the cap releases it. I don't think that works. I think that's why the heater core blew. And so I'm kind of wondering what the next weak link is if we're overpressurizing the system. It's got a decent amount of pressure in it, but I don't think anything's at the top or anything. And that's probably what'll happen, you know, if there's an issue, is rather than I just try to put on a seatbelt, rather than like just overheating, it'll overpressurize the cooling system because it's filling it with, you know, gases each time there's a compression stroke. So I'm just gonna take it easy, try to make it there. Do you know how cold we are?
Oh, because you ain't got no heater?
There's no heater and there's no sunroof. And well, the sunroof is sitting in there, but to keep it from blowing out, we had to keep the windows down.
Yeah, I heard you flew that one out too.
Yeah, that one hit Jalen's car. Hi, Amber.
Did it really?
Yeah. It's so far so good though. The temp gauge stayed pegged right where it should be. Although.
And what is pegged where it should be?
Well, it was sitting at like 130-ish.
Check that out.
Oh, that's custom right there. So that's not really like.
It's not great. It honestly kind of worked though.
Does it though?
Uh-huh. Yeah, the temp gauge was sitting, and then you know when I would stop and the temp would go up, it would.
Yikes.
It probably reads lower than what it is because of the rubber, but you know.
I think it collects the heat. So what's it say you're doing?
Temperature-wise?
Yeah.
So it actually just spiked because the hood was, we turned it off, but it was like 140. And so I feel like that's probably about 20 degrees lower than what it is.
Yeah, I would say 20.
Just because of the rubber. I feel like that's probably just a normal amount of pressure. So that was like my only concern. I was like, all right, it's not overheating. So as long as it doesn't over-pressurize the system, you know, if the gas gets blown. But I guess
we'll give it a couple more minutes and head out there.
Okay.
And like I said, it won't take long at all.
You just like drop it in, right, and see what color?
Well, yeah, it's literally like a little suction base. We just take the radiator cap off and just plop it there and squeeze it and see. Hopefully it doesn't change colors.
Cool.
If it don't change colors, we're good.
What if it does?
You better find another motor.
Oh, that's not what I want to hear. Should I jump in the driver's seat?
Yeah.
I think so. Thank you so much. Okay, now we're ready. I actually haven't driven this car in a long time. I think it's still on the tune, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's got the JB4 tune. It's like 400 wheel, I think. Yeah, that's pretty good. So we're driving a Kia Stinger GTS. It's the rear-wheel drive version, which is better. It's got the JB4 tune. It's got some intakes and exhaust, so it's like, I think a little over 400 at the wheel. I think he has an E85 tune, so you can put in some corn and make more, but this is still like plenty of power in this car.
All right, so we're 5 pounds over stock right now.
Okay.
And then
wow. That's great.
and then 5 7 pounds.
So it's 7?
So we're at 5 right now, 5 over stock.
Okay. That's not, you know.
No, I think it's like 20 pounds boost, I think.
Wow.
Ish.
All right, ready?
Yes.
I'm kind of scared. I feel like the fact that it made it here, don't you think?
Yeah, well, you're 30 minutes away from me, so
Yeah,
that's...
of just nonstop highway. I mean, I don't know, we'll see. So what do I need to do here?
All right, so take off your cap.
It's still got a small amount of pressure in it.
You gotta put your face over it, though. All right, so we're gonna slap that in there. Then you're gonna start her up.
Start her up.
Start her up.
I hope it starts.
As long as it doesn't turn yellow, we're good.
Okay. Like, did it turn like piss yellow?
No, it'll turn. You'll see it change colors.
Okay. Have you ever like used this on a blown car before?
Oh yeah, I mean it'll turn like yellow, dark yellow, some type of yellow.
Okay. What's like the time frame?
Usually pretty instant. I mean, we'll let it warm up a little bit, but I mean, so far so good. Let it build up a little bit more pressure, but I think you're good. I think this thing's ready to be sent.
That makes no sense. I mean, it cooked like for an hour. I put over 2 gallons of coolant in it.
Maybe you just built it right.
Maybe so. I think Oliver comes with some luck. Too.
Yeah,
I really do.
I think you just built it good.
The fact that the sunroof has flown out 3 times and not killed anyone.
That's fair.
It's hurt some cars, but it hasn't killed anyone.
Just don't be behind any motorcycles or motorcycles behind you. Yeah, that would do it.
So coolant's good. The oil is not a milkshake. Compression's good. John says it's good.
For a head gasket leak, at least.
I think he's worried about something else. He's worried about it knocking. I don't care if it knocks.
Head gasket wise, we're good.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't overheat, the heads aren't cracked, we're good. So on that note, I think it's time to move forward with the supercharger. Thank you, John, for letting us use your big probe and letting us play with your cars.
Of course, absolutely, all day.
All right, well, next time maybe we'll play with the supercharger. Thanks for watching.